welcome to my channel. So as a project member or project manager, you might be asking yourself, or you might be wondering, what is the impact of effective project communication in a project environment or in a program environment? Don't worry, in this video, I'm going to cover the 4 most important impacts that you can see or you can have in a project communication through the project communication process. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Oscar Mbira. I'm a certified program and project manager. This is the channel which I use to help aspiring and also practicing project managers to succeed. So in this video, I'm going to take you through all that is required in terms of communication in a project or program environment. So let's dive in. So the first impact of effective project communication is alignment of stakeholders. If your communication is very clear and concise, avoiding any ambiguity and confusion, and if your communication also is very timely, which means you're communicating it the right time when it's required. It does not make sense. Say, for example, you're already closing the project, then you're communicating about project kickoff. It does not make sense. So your communication must be timely. Okay? So as long as your communication is timely and also is very clear what you want to communicate, it's going to remove a lot of confusion. And it's going to make sure that all the stakeholders involved in that program or project, they're aligned on exactly what are the objectives of the project, what is the scope of the project, what are the major milestones of the project. That is very, very important to consider if you're a project manager. I've used it in my project, you should be able to use it in a project. The second impact of effective communication in a project setup or project environment is to make sure that you are also increasing collaboration amongst your team members. Collaboration is very important. Teamwork is very important in every project setup. So how do you make that teamwork very effective? How do you make that teamwork very collaborative? You have to make sure that you are doing the communication right. So if you are doing your communication right, you'll find that team collaboration naturally becomes very easy. But if your communication is causing confusion or anxiety in the project team, you would find that there's no collaboration. People are not very clear on exactly what they're supposed to do, or whether they're going to use some inputs from another team, or they're going to use some outputs from another team for them to achieve project tasks or for them to complete end project deliverables. So if you want the team collaboration to be very high, just make sure that your communication is very effective in a project setup. That is very, very impactful in a project setup. I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help the channel to grow. It can also help the channel to produce more videos like this one. So, the third impact that you normally get when your communication is very effective in a project setup is mitigation of risks. Remember, communication is not one way. It's communication outside the project, communication into the project, and also communication within the project. And it's normally a two-way communication. It's not always from project leadership all the way down to the team members. Communication also can even come from the bottom up or top bottom, like that. So, how does it impact the effectiveness in a project? It's good for risk mitigation. There are some project members who are very good at picking some risks, which you, as a project manager, you might fail to pick them early. So if your communication is very effective and open, these members can even approach you as a project manager to say, as much as you're putting effort towards achieving this particular deliverable, are you aware that a specific customer is going under? And this specific customer is the one who is going to be the beneficiary of that specific product that you want to create in that project. Just an example. So you, as a project manager, you note that as a risk, that you're working on a project to produce a specific product, and the targeted customer is actually going under in terms of business operations. So who's going to use your product? Then you start managing risk from there. For example, instead of focusing on that only customer, you might try to widen in terms of the use of your product by other customers. Already, you're mitigating the risk against that. So also, if your communication is very clear, I've been in a project where one of our very key member resigned. And it was key, I'm telling you. But I was lucky because I normally set up a very open communication system in my projects. One of the members had to pass that information to me and said, this specific member, I'm just going to call them X, is about to leave the project and the organization. And there's no one else who knows what he's doing. So I had to take that as a high risk. I started looking around for replacement. Fortunately, I was lucky to get one from outside with almost the same skills to replace that individual. But imagine if my communication was not very effective, or maybe it's blocked. It's only top to bottom. I was never going to get that information, and I was not going to be able to mitigate against that risk. So communication, effective communication in a project is very, very important when it comes to mitigating against risks, because you get information as early as possible from any stakeholders of the project. That is very important for you to consider as a project manager. I hope you have enjoyed the video so far. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to click the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you are the first person to be notified each time a new video is uploaded on this channel. It will also help the channel to grow. It can also help the channel to produce more videos like this one. Fourth impact of effective communication in a project environment is to increase the outcome or the likelihood of the outcome of the project to be very good. I'll give you an example. You want your project to be delivered within the specific timelines, but your people, they're not aware. They don't know when are we supposed to finish a specific task, which deliverable or product is supposed to be done earlier than the other one. But if your communication is very effective, you've actually managed to identify the products or deliverables in a project, or even tasks or actions in a project. You've also prioritized them in terms of which one is supposed to go first and then the next one. You then communicate that with your project team. Your project team is going to take it as theirs. They're going to own it because they're going to be very clear on what exactly they're supposed to produce and by what time are they supposed to produce. So if your communication is very clear, you are increasing the likelihood of the project to be successful, for the project to achieve its objectives, for the project to complete its scope. So as a project manager, you must be very, very careful. You must make sure that your communication is effective if you want your project to be very successful. That is very critical. That is very important. You should take note of that. I've applied it in my project. You should be able to apply it in your project. If you want me to create additional videos based on what we've covered in this video, including the concepts, the techniques, or you've got any specific clarification that you might want to understand, let me know in the comment section below.